Hello and welcome to the next power review summary of Rebel Galaxy. This is a game by Double Damage, and for all intents and purposes I was praying it would be like Freelancer because that is one of my favourite space arcade sims of all time. This game is the game I've been reviewing alongside Sublevel Zero, and if I can be brutally honest, I have very often found myself just every time I got bored of Sublevel Zero and I just thought I need to take a break, I would immediately jump onto Rebel Galaxy, which is probably relatively good for a game to have that sort of role in someone's life. The graphic style is fantastic. I think it gives you an excellent. I think it's very good at duping the player of making you think the graphics are amazing, but they're not particularly hyper realistic. They're relatively above average. But they have got so many sort of lighting effects and stuff like that that I think it very, very cleverly makes you think that they're better than they are, which is good. Gotta say, absolutely spot on there. Great job. It feels very much similar to Freelancer in a lot of ways, but not in others. The equipment and shipyard stuff is very similar. I would have to say that there are quite a number of ships, perhaps not as many as Freelancer had, but they're big enough and spread out enough in terms of cost that it feels like that they spread across the whole game, and it's something to work up to. You spend your whole time working up to getting bigger ships and bigger weapons. Equipment in terms of weapons is also similar to Freelancer in that you have all of these different stuff, and you can go up to Mark. I think you can go up to Mark 5. I think, and obviously, again, not as many different variations of weapons as Freelancer, but still, I think I should stop referring to this as a Freelancer type game because it's what I've wanted it to be, and it sort of filled that role, but not quite. But I don't think it's fair for me to base it on that because I love Freelancer far too much. That said, I have to say I think that it doesn't have quite as much content as other space sims. But it does relatively well with the content that it does provide, and I think it sort of stretches it out across enough avenues for you to discover to make it feel like there's more than there is. I think they've been very clever with their game design, and they've just spread everything out so well that it's felt good, even if you're wanting for a bit of extra. Another thing that I like about this game is that yes, it can get quite repetitive. There is an awful lot of stuff that you'll find yourself doing over and over and over again, which is slightly annoying, I have to say. The repetitiveness has been getting a little bit, irritating, and a lot of the ship battles tend to be resolved in a very similar way to each other, a lot, which is a little bit annoying, I guess. But I have to say, despite the fact that it is quite a repetitive game, I have been enjoying every minute of it so far, which is pretty good. It's very challenging, I have to say, and incredibly tactical. You'll very, very quickly learn how to be tactical in this game. And once you've learnt those tactics, you'll very, very quickly employ them into other stuff. Like that ship was way above my level, but with some very quick tactical missile obliteration on the broadsides, I managed to sort it, which is cool. That's how it should be. I think this has got one of the best video options menu in the history of game design ever, like ever. I think these guys have done such a fantastic job that I think everyone should read and weep at the quality of video options menu that these guys have put on for us. And quite frankly, I don't think anyone else will make such a good video options menu again apart from Double Damage. So definitely 10 out of 10 for video options. Just completely fantastic. Like, you could not ask for more. And also the fact that you can have the PS4 buttons. I mentioned all this in the impressions. It's just brilliant. The other thing aside from the video options is it's just an easy game to play. I think even though it's not quite 100% Freelancer, and it shouldn't have to be, this is its own game. It's just, Freelancer is one of those games I love. It's definitely its own game, and it feels like it's done something that nothing else has done, and it fits very nicely in places, and it's just done very, very well with what it's got. I I think the easiest way for me to put this is 95% of the game is absolutely fantastic. Yes, it gets repetitive, but the combat is good enough and occasionally intense enough to make you feel like you don't mind the repetitiveness at all. I think anyone looking for a space sim itch that doesn't want to spend hours space trucking across the universe in Elite Dangerous, or doesn't want to spend the next 5 years waiting for Star Citizen to come out, this is absolutely perfect for those sorts of people. It's just fun, it's easy to pick up, it's very pretty and shiny and basic. Broadside battles with as space pirates is just such a fantastic premise for a game. And overall, I could cover this entire video in 10 minutes, but it's just so well done. My only niggles is this: enemies can pitch up and down while you can't. That irritates me quite a substantial amount. Possibly more than it should. But it's annoying all the same, and I'm not a fan of that. Second, it's very difficult to be an asshole. Yes, you can be one. You can just shoot people down, but you'll very quickly find yourself with no friends instead of with some friends on the other side of the table, and that annoys me quite a bit. It's very difficult to choose your path, as all these games seem to put it nowadays. Yes, you can do it, possibly, but it takes a very long time. It's a bit of a ball ache, but it can be done. I just think it should be made to be more accessible. It's very similar to the Freelancer in that if you're playing the main missions and you want to be a dick, you can't. You basically have to complete all the main missions and then get into your freelance mode. And then you can start hacking whatever and making your reputation with some of the other alliances good or bad. But in this game, you just generally be a dick. And just do certain missions like get contraband and deliver stuff like this bio-waste that I'm not picking up because I decided to be a good person. So, yeah, that's annoying. And the fact that there's auto-aim. I feel like I have very little control over my ship. I am the captain of this capital ship, and I have very little control over where the weapons are shooting. Even if I aim at a ship and shoot, the game says, oh no, you wanted to shoot this ship, right? We're pretty sure you wanted to shoot this ship, so we're just going to automatically make it shoot over in this direction and kill whatever's over there, which is a little bit annoying. I think it's great that your turrets and everything have AI and that it's programmable. I think that's awesome. But the fact that the game has decided that it is going to decide who is best for you to shoot at, and it is going to decide when you can warp. I hate that. I think that's awful. I think it's very poor design, and I think they should put more control in the player's hands by letting you choose your speed, letting you choose if you're going to go below sublight, and oh, look at this. I hate the fact that this happens. I mean, again, I'm going off on the Freelancer bandwagon here again, but Freelancer would automatically weave in and out of asteroids. Whereas this, it just says, oh, there's something in your way. Sorry, you're not warping anymore. Instead, you're going to go 4 miles an hour across the galaxy, and you're going to have to weave in and out of these asteroids until you get into an empty area. Then you can go back into warp. And then only can you go back in, you can only go back into warp after you've gotten past this sublight section of your speed, and I don't like how they've done that. It's a very minor thing, I have to say. It's a small part of the game which gets used quite frequently, and it annoys the crap out of me. Obviously, that's probably personal preference, so whether or not that will bother you shouldn't affect my personal opinion of this addition. Probably shouldn't affect whether you buy the game or not, because it's just the way they've decided to do things. I have gotten used to it already. I've gotten past it. It's just one of those things that's stuck with me for a very long time. I like to have control over what I'm supposed to be controlling, and the fact that you can't control your speed or very specifically select what you're shooting at because everything's auto-aimed, those things annoy me a little bit, and I think those are literally the only things that make me dislike this game. Everything else about this game, despite the repetitiveness, despite the basicness, despite the fact that you truck across the galaxy all the time, but you get to look at all these pretty things, it's just such a brilliant game. I think that of all of the people that have tried to do space sims recently, this has done a very excellent job. I mean, Elite Dangerous sort of disappointed me after a while. It does feel a bit like Eve in the way that it's less of a hobby and more of a job, and I don't know. I think this has just hit that perfect spot between space sim and, you know, just general swashbuckling arcade game. It's very arcade. I think it leans a hell of a lot further towards the arcade area than the simulation area. But it still feels really, really awesome. It still feels like you're in a lot of control. It still feels like there is a fair amount of tactics involved in order to solve a lot of your problems. And it's just, I just think it's done everything excellently. I think I'm going to struggle to find a game other than Freelancer that will have made me enjoy it quite this much in a very long time. It looks great. It performs absolutely excellently. I cannot emphasize that enough. It performs so well, much better than I expected. That's probably down to the fact that they've pumped loads of light into a slightly above average asseted game. Textures are okay. Mining is a bit... It does feel occasionally like there is no point in mining. There is no point in attempting to be an asshole because the rewards aren't that great, other than the fact that you can sell contraband, provided you don't get caught, and it's just fun to be a dick occasionally. Whoa, that was quick. So I guess, yeah, I guess overall it's a pretty awesome game. I think people who are new to space games like this will probably get on very, very well with this game. There are plenty of faults that I have with the game, but I think they're probably largely personal preference. The auto aim thing probably won't bother many people. The warp thing probably won't bother many people, and the difficulty in being a dick will probably not be too much of a problem for a few people. Oh my, that guy has a large chin. You can see here, the game performs excellently because of that texturing right there. Look at that texture right there. That chin texture. That's got some excellent 720p texturing, and the hair. But the important thing is it looks unique and it looks pretty good. And I think, who cares if it's... Who cares, really? I mean, it just looks good and it feels like an interesting game. So, yeah, overall, can't say enough good things about it. Obviously, I imagine a few people will have their fair share of niggles as well. I haven't come across any bugs as of late, actually. And it's quite good in that, yes, despite the repetitiveness, there are some randomized events. The galaxy is friggin' huge. Like, this is just one of the solar systems I've been to. There's tons of solar systems. I mean, look at this. I have been to one of these. I can't remember which one it is. This is the second one, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. There's just so much content for you to do. And there's a lot of randomized events that come up, like hacking and all that random crap. So, overall, I can find a couple of faults, but I don't care because I'm enjoying myself. This has just been one of those games where I have gone into it thinking I'm expecting something. I've discovered that it has fulfilled some of those expectations, but not others. But then I've come out thinking, well, I don't mind because it just feels like a good game overall. I mean, I think for Double Damage to just go away and come up with a space arcade swashbuckling game like this, fantastic. Great job. I mean, it's just turned out a lot better than expected. I mean, I was hoping quite a substantial amount that the game would be excellent, but I think it's definitely exceeded a lot of my expectations. I think it's done very, very well. And I love lasers. Lasers are amazing. Lasers are my favourite weapon in the entire game. Oh, I think I'm about to die. Let's quickly spin around here. If anything, I would kind of like there to be more ships so that I can upgrade my ships a bit more often. But, you know, if you spend a little bit of time just generally doing a few missions, getting some credits, and, you know, just I guess grinding a little bit, and you'll very quickly find that you'll be getting ships in no time. So yeah, a little bit light on content in areas, but otherwise Great game. Love it. And I think a lot of other people loved it too. So yeah, if you want to see the full review, hit the link in the section below and check out the excellent performance analysis, also in the link below. And of course, you can check out our other review that we will have dropped today on Sublevel 0 and the video on our channel. And if you're looking for hardware related stuff, go ahead and check out our sister site on NextPowerUp and their YouTube channel. Just search them on YouTube as NextPowerUp and they should be there. And of course, join us on Saturday for our Next Week in Gaming. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this game as much as I do, and we'll see you guys next time.